I was 10 years old and had just played my first game of Dungeons & Dragons when a friend lent me the Danish translation of Dragons of Autumn Twilight. And that's when I fell in love with reading and with Dragonlance. But what is Dragonlance? Is it still relevant with the huge fantasy market today? And why is Dragonlance so important to me and many others? Grab some coffee and let's talk about that. Before I talk about how Dragonlance changed my life, I want to get something out of the way. The Dragonlance novels are old. They are so old that a 40th anniversary edition of the Dragonlance Chronicles has just been announced while I was preparing this video. Therefore, if you've never read the Dragonlance Chronicles and you pick them up now, you need to understand that they might not have aged so well. The books are full of what you would now call overused tropes and cliches. Also, the writing isn't exactly what I would call brilliant literature. You will find a lot of "and then the wizard said," "and then the fighter said" sentences, but that doesn't change that millions of readers, myself included, love these books. But I'm getting ahead of myself. If you have no idea what Dragonlance is or why so many people love these books, let me help you out. So, what exactly is Dragonlance? Well, Dragonlance is a series of high fantasy novels set in the world of Krynn. The series was created by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman, two talented authors who brought this magical world to life. The Dragonlance saga began in the early 1980s when Tracy Hickman, who was working as a game designer at TSR, the company that originally published Dungeons & Dragons, came up with the idea for a new fantasy setting. Together with his wife, Laura Hickman, and later joined by Margaret Weis, they developed the world of Krynn. The first trilogy, known as the Dragonlance Chronicles, was published in 1984, when I was 2 years old. This trilogy includes Dragons of Autumn Twilight, Dragons of Winter Night, and Dragons of Spring Dawning. These books set the stage for what would become one of the most beloved fantasy series of all time. The world of Krynn is unique compared to other D&D settings. It's a land where gods walk among mortals, dragons play a central role, and the balance between good, evil, and neutrality is in constant flux. The world itself has a rich history, deep mythology, and a variety of landscapes from lush forests to desolate wastelands. What sets Krynn apart is its intricate political and social structures. Unlike other D&D worlds, Krynn places a significant emphasis on the relationships between its gods and the people, as well as the ongoing struggle for balance between the forces of good, evil, and neutrality. One of the most important events in Krynn's history is the Cataclysm. This world-shattering event occurred when the king priest of Istar demanded godhood from the gods. The gods, in their wrath, hurled a fiery mountain down upon the world, devastating the land and reshaping society. This cataclysm led to the gods withdrawing from the world, leaving the people of Krynn to fend for themselves. The return of the gods is a major theme in the Dragonlance Chronicles, with the heroes discovering evidence of the gods' influence and working to restore the lost faith of Krynn's inhabitants. As you might have guessed from the name, dragons in Krynn play an important role and are more than just powerful creatures. They are the servants of the gods. The good dragons serve the gods of light, while the evil dragons serve the dark goddess Takhisis. This divine connection adds layers to the conflict and the narrative, as the battles are not just physical but also spiritual. The Dragonlance Chronicles trilogy follows a group of heroes who are brought together by fate to combat the rising evil in the world. The story begins with the heroes reuniting after several years apart, each having pursued their own quests. They soon discover the ancient dragons, long thought to be extinct, have returned to Krynn. But for some reason, only the evil dragons are back. Now, let me introduce you to the main characters, and this is one of the places where you will see some tropes. Tanis, half-elven, the conflicted leader of the group, torn between his human and elven heritage. Sturm Brightblade, a noble knight with a strong sense of honor and duty. Raistlin Majera, a powerful yet enigmatic mage with a dark streak and a desire for power. Caramon Majera, Raistlin's twin brother, a strong, kind, and loyal warrior who acts as Raistlin's protector. Goldmoon and Riverwind, a plainswoman and her companion who possess a mystical blue crystal staff. Tasselhoff Burrfoot, a light-hearted kender known for his curious nature and knack for getting into trouble. Flint Fireforge, a gruff but lovely dwarven warrior with a heart of gold. The Chronicles tell the story of their journey as they fight against the forces of the evil dragon High Lords, led by the dark goddess Takhisis. The trilogy is filled with epic battles, deep friendships, and the struggle between good and evil, all set against Krynn's rich history and mythology. This rich history is what made the world stand out to a young kid like me. It felt like everything had a deeper meaning and some history attached to it, just waiting to be told. Of the many unique parts of Dragonlance, there's a couple that stand out to me, a couple that I still to this day think are awesome. Let me tell you which. Draconians. At the start of the Chronicles books, a new race of warrior creatures hatched from the corrupted eggs of good dragons appear. They each have their own deadly abilities, one of them being that they turn into stone when killed, trapping the weapon they were killed with in their bodies. In modern D&D you have the Dragonborn, and honestly they seem like a beefed up version of Draconians. But Draconians in Dragonlance are evil and vile creatures trying to stop the heroes of the world. And then there's the wizards. And I can honestly say that the Dragonlance books are what makes me play the wizard class in 9 out of 10 D&D games I play. When the Chronicles begin, the only magic in the world is that is wielded by the wizards of high sorcery. Magic in Krynn is highly regulated and comes from 3 distinct sources, representing good, neutrality, and evil. Each wizard has to state what kind of wizard they are by wearing a white, red, or black robe. The wizards are bound by strict rules and take rigorous tests to ascend in their ranks. This organization ensures that magic is controlled and used responsibly, adding a layer of intrigue to the story. Many of the stories in the Dragonlance setting are about Raistlin Majera, who, without me spoiling too much, will grow up to become an extremely powerful wizard. His story is one of wanting to be part of the Wizards of High Sorcery, while still wanting to go his own way and break the limits of what they will accept. But, of course, no good fantasy story is complete without knights, which leads me to the Solamnic Knights. These knights were once the pinnacle of honor and chivalry, but have now fallen into disgrace by the time the Chronicles begin. Their order, based on the principles of courage, loyalty, and justice, is struggling to reclaim its former glory. It has become corrupt, and more than that, it has become hated across the world because it failed to protect society when the gods left the world. This decline and the efforts to restore their honor are central themes in the story, embodied by characters like Sturm Brightblade, who is one of the few Solamnic Knights who still believe in honor and chivalry. But I'm barely scratching the surface here. There's also the Dragonlances, a legendary weapon capable of defeating dragons, and the only way to win the war against evil. Floating citadels, death knights, mysterious magical items, time travel, dragon riders, dark magic, friendships, and love in these stories. But of all the things I just said, is any of this really original in today's fantasy genre? No, not really. But then what is it that makes people like me come back and reread these books? And more importantly, what is it that makes new readers fall in love with them as well? There's so many great modern fantasy books out there, so why should you spend your time with a 40-year-old fantasy novel? Let me tell you. For me and many others, Dragonlance was more than just a series of books. It was an entry into a world of adventure where heroes could be flawed, where friendships could overcome the greatest odds, and where magic was real. It's a series that sparked my love for reading and set the foundations for my journey into fantasy literature. I've given a lot of thought to why Dragonlance still resonates with readers, and I think it's the perfect blend of nostalgia and timeless storytelling. The themes of friendship, sacrifice, and battle between good and evil are universal and evergreen. The characters' personal struggles and growth are something readers can relate to regardless of when they read the books. The world of Krynn, with its rich history and mythology, provides a backdrop that feels both epic and intimate. The cataclysm and the return of the gods add layers of mystery and intrigue, while the political and social structures create a dynamic and ever-changing world. The inclusion of dragons, draconians, and the wizards of high sorcery adds a sense of wonder and excitement that keeps readers like me coming back for more. But perhaps most importantly, Dragonlance captures the essence of what it means to be a hero. The characters are not perfect, they make mistakes, face their fears, and grow from their experiences. This makes them relatable and inspiring. Whether it's Tannis' struggle with his identity, Raistlin grappling with his ambition and frailty, or Sturm striving to uphold his honor in a fallen world, these characters teach us about courage, loyalty, and resilience. Moreover, the storytelling itself is accessible and engaging. The pacing is quick, the dialogue is sharp, and the action scenes are great. This makes the books easy to read and hard to put down, appealing to both young readers and adults. For new readers, Dragonlance offers a gateway into a richly crafted world with characters you will come to love and root for. For returning fans, it's like coming home to an old friend. The nostalgia combined with the timeless themes and storytelling ensures that Dragonlance remains relevant and beloved even after 40 years. So, if you're wondering why you should spend your time with a 40-year-old fantasy novel based on Dungeons and Dragons with all the flaws that come with that, the answer is simple. Dragonlance is not just a story, it's an experience. It's a journey that will stay with you long after you've turned the last page. And that, I believe, is the true magic of Dragonlance. If you haven't read the Dragonlance Chronicles yet, I recommend you give them a try. And if you're a longtime fan like me, maybe it's time to revisit Krynn and relive the adventures. I just picked up the books on my Kindle Scribe, and if you want to hear my thoughts on the Kindle Scribe, I have a review you can watch right here. Thank you for subscribing, clicking the like button, and spending your time watching. I appreciate you being here. See you in the next chapter.